Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Hold the Mic. We are your hosts. I'm Ryan Shead, and that's Ian Sherman back from vacation. I guess that's the best we're going to do with the wig, huh?
Yo, Stephanie, got some things to talk about. Got some things.
Oh, man.
Yo, man.
And she's going to miss it too, I bet.
If I did all this, if I waited a week to get my revenge, okay, a week, and you in the green room, you're like, I wish you had the wig, and I'm
That
like,
was funny.
I ain't got no wig.
You're like, I ain't got nothing. Prick. Supposed to share those things with your partner.
I'm sharing it right now. So I got the Michael Keaton look going on with my neck don't move for Batman '89, but you know.
Oh,
best I could
baby
do.
Jesus.
Best I could do.
And a big
Stephanie,
shout out to
there she is right there. Boom.
There she is. She's there. See, she didn't miss it.
I showed
up.
up.
Did this just for you.
Just for you.
But a big shout out to Sadia for filling in for my no good partner last week. We appreciate it. It was a great show. If you didn't go check it out, Sadia as always has some great perspectives on things that are going on in our country and the world right now. So definitely go check that out. But brother, it's good to have you back.
It is good to be back. It is good to be back. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Snatched off like Jada Pinkett Smith. Let's go.
Oh shit.
All
right, G.I. Jane, let's go.
Yeah,
what's up, buddy?
Happy Pride, first and foremost.
Yes.
That is,
happy Pride.
This is my shout out to Stephanie for that comment, that lovely comment from last episode. You guys did a really great job. It was really nice to watch you guys actually from my hotel room. And to see how everything was going. So,
he called me and he's like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, I did. I was like, y'all some trifling ass bitches. Trifling ass. All right, I got you.
So good.
But no, it was a great episode, very knowledgeable, and you guys are always on point. You know, and I just said, I know that you sometimes need someone to turn the knife a little bit on you, though. That's all.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There was, and we even talked about it after the show. I think there was something I had said last show, and Sadia was like, can you take that out? And I was like, no, it's there now. And she's like, oh, okay. And I was like, there's certain things that I get away with when you're here.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're just either you're twisting the knife or you're just figuring out how to stop me from being canceled. So
okay, all right.
Yeah, let's walk that one.
Go ahead and just backslide that one.
Yeah, man. Hey, but let's get on to more important really things like Pride Month.
Pride Month.
Here on this show, we definitely want to just give a shout out to everybody that's a part of any of those communities. You definitely have our support, our love, and fuck everybody else. That's pretty much how I feel about it.
Love my brothers, my sisters, my cousins, aunties, uncles, moms,
but particularly, I just want to give a shout out, particularly to the trans community, because over the last few years, you've given me the space personally to just better educate myself, about the things that you all deal with, your community, your daily lives, and most importantly, I think the most reflective and insightful part for me has been the transgender folks that share their upbringing with me, that talk about being 9 years old and they're like, I knew just something wasn't right. I didn't know what it was, but I just knew early that something was off. And so just to hear those stories and how it progressed and, everybody's story is different, of course, but, I'd say 90% of the folks I've talked to, it's been a positive experience. They're glad they've done it, and they're glad they had the medical care to get those things done. And they continue to advocate for that. So I just thank you to the community, because I know that I haven't always said the right thing. And I definitely had my own biases that I was dealing with. So I just want to appreciate the space that y'all give me to be a better ally and just make sure that I use my platform in a more responsible way. So appreciate
it was
you
rough
all.
To watch you get there, but we're glad you got there. That's
man.
The reality. You got there.
But
if you could do it, Ryan, so can everybody else.
Well, dude, and I've said, and I'm gonna say it again because
it's a lot of teachable moments in there. A lot.
Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah. But I've said when the whole thing with Dave Chappelle was going down with that special, I said I went and watched it because I wanted to get what my reaction was.
Right.
And I was like, I felt bad at the end of it because I felt like he was talking to me. Not necessarily the what is it called, the turf thing or whatever that part was. Not necessarily that part. But at the end, he was telling a story about his friend that was transgender that had passed away. And the way that he ended the show to me was like, it was the bow on everything to kind of tie it all together and make it make sense to people like me who weren't as educated as we'd like to be and were pretty ignorant to this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, there was definitely some parts that were cringy, but at the same time, I think he was talking to a lot of people that just don't understand.
And that's the gift that Dave is. I feel like if you know, it was triggering, but if you didn't know, it's like it made you really think. Yep. And that's the thing that people have to give space to.
Why are people triggered
not everybody's
by
there.
this? Yep.
Oh, yeah, but why are people triggered? But also at the same time, it's like you got to have a bridge somewhere in there. Yes, people are there. They've landed. They know what this world is like. There's people who have no idea and they're completely removed. And then there's that sweet spot where it's just like, well, let me go ahead and talk about it. But if we can't have that dialogue, that conversation, good or bad, cringe or not, like it's still something there to really kind of like to deep dive into. Yeah. So it's interesting. I've watched it. I took in, me as a Dave Chappelle fan, I was just like, okay, I see what he's doing. Does it land? Does it not land? Whatever. That's a different conversation.
It's going to land differently with everybody. Yeah.
And that's exactly it. It's going to land differently with everybody. But, someone like my wife is like, I don't need to watch it. Like, and I'm like, okay.
That's how my wife was. She's like, I don't want to watch that. I was like, all right.
I was like, cool. All right. More for me.
But like you, I like Dave Chappelle's comedy. But I like tell people, I'm like, I like Richard Pryor. So like you guys clutch your pearls about comedians today. You guys would have lost your fucking minds. Richard Pryor.
Fox, I mean, all of them. Even Eddie Murphy, young Eddie Murphy.
How you gonna tell your girl you love it when you ain't washed your ass?
I didn't know you had that in you, but now I know Jen has something special. I'm just saying, now I know Jen has something special. Come
on, man.
I'm just saying, man. When these lights get low,
that was before Jen. That was before Jen, bro. Come on now.
Hey, there's nothing before Jen. Don't get us canceled.
Don't get me canceled. She'll bury me in the backyard and tell everybody I left her.
I see Jen on that next episode. I'm like, hey, girl. She'll be like,
the first 48.
I'm doing the show now. I'm the captain now. I'm like, okay.
I'm the captain of this ship.
Okay.
But we talk about the right likes to talk about, particularly the Christians, likes to talk about all the left and the division and the hate that we're spreading. And I'd just like to point out that we're the ones trying to be inclusive. We're the ones trying to better educate ourselves. We're the ones trying to be better at, like, we're not out here trying to cancel Pride Month like you guys are. And for those of you walking around going, oh, we're going to call this month Military Month. May is Military Appreciation Month. They give us the whole fucking month. And then on top of that, we also get Veterans Day in November. Yeah. So you guys make no fucking sense. You're so filled with hate that you want to push it on everybody else. And you keep saying this is what you voted for. Yeah, you voted for hate. You voted for hate. You voted for division. You voted to protect a certain community in America, and everybody else can go fuck themselves. That's literally what you voted for.
You know what's interesting about it, Ryan, and I really do tell a lot of my closest.
Yeah, Don Rickles too. Yeah, shit.
And a couple of folks that watch this show. This whole mega thing is just one big speed bump. Like, you're not stopping this. You know what I mean? Like, you're not stopping what's coming. You're not stopping anything. Are you postponing? Maybe.
What do you mean?
In the context that progress, if you look at every single amendment that we have, it was forward-thinking people that implemented these amendments into our Constitution. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have people who are always constantly adding these new amendments throughout the history of these 250 years of being this experiment we call America. It's always still a progressive mindset that is still trying to implement, to really instill, regardless if there is a bipartisan movement of how they build these out. It still starts and sparked by this idea of progress. And this administration is just that major speed bump that we're going over, but it's still going forward. There's no stopping it.
Yeah.
You're watching. And the reason why I say is that you watch these kids who walk out of school in protest for watching, how ICE is taking their colleagues. You see these glimpses of these moments that are there and you're like, okay, the future's in good hands.
Yeah,
this whole thing that we're watching right now is a collection of white fragility and of men and how mediocre they have become in today's society. Right? White men, especially, very mediocre. I mean, just look at this administration. A lot of mediocre white men who have no business really being there. Besides being DEI hires themselves.
Some needed a waiver for the job, like the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
I never needed a permission slip to do anything I've done in my life.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Like,
really.
and when you're talking about things like, the Constitution, amendments, things like that, I just want to point out that we have sitting members of Congress who are getting fact-checked because they don't know what the 5th and 14th fucking amendments are. So Nancy Mace put out a tweet 22 hours ago saying due process for citizens. And then she got fact-checked saying the 5th and 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution guarantee due process to all persons on United States soil, including those who have entered or remained in the country without authorization. I'm so glad that we could clear that up for Nancy Mace because holy shit.
Yeah. It's interesting to see people get fact-checked when they're trying to whitewash in real time. You know what I mean?
Great, man.
You know, it's like they really are just trying to pour bleach on everything, and everybody's like, "Nope, get that shit out of here." It's like it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Oh my gosh. So,
but Nancy's just an embarrassment. I'm sorry, I don't even think of her anymore.
To humanity, not just America.
Oh yeah.
Moving on. While we're talking about Pride Month, I think it's only right that we address this bullshit. So Pete Hegseth is, doing Pete Hegseth things again and renaming the USS Harvey Milk during Pride Month. So, of course, the reason it pisses me off is because it's just more gaslighting from the Pentagon and this douchebag.
Right. Has he actually done anything? Like, actually done anything?
Besides security breaches and illegal wiretaps? No.
It's so good.
I mean, this is the kind of shit they have to do and put out to cover for Hegseth and all the things that he's doing wrong.
Yeah.
So the USS Harvey Milk is a John Lewis class replenishment oiler of the United States Navy named in honor of Harvey Milk, the first openly gay elected official in California and a civil rights icon. That's right. It is operated not by the military, but by Military Sea Lift Command, builder General Dynamics National Steel and Shipbuilding. It was launched November 6th of 2021, and it was not commissioned in the traditional sense because MSC vessels are operated by civilians and don't have commissioning ceremonies like warships. Crew is civilians operated by MSC plus a small Navy detachment. The mission of this vessel is to deliver fuel and other supplies to Navy ships underway, supporting extended operations at sea. And for those who need a little bit more background, Harvey Milk served in the Navy during the Korean War, where he was forced to resign under pressure due to his sexuality. Naming a Navy ship after him is seen as a powerful symbol of how far the military had evolved on LGBTQ issues. Right. The ship's naming was proposed by then Navy Secretary Ray Mabus in 2016. During the launch ceremony, Milk's nephew, Stuart Milk, gave a speech, and a rainbow ribbon was used to christen the ship, marking a significant moment in Navy history. What do you think of that, bro?
Again, I think this is a speed bump. I think we're Pete Hegseth. I like to call him Petey. Petey likes to put his ass out there. He really likes to put his ass out there. Little Petey. Definitely baby dick energy. Everything he does, it screams that he's an amateur. He's mediocre.
Oh, for sure.
It's just showboating. It's just they're trying to piss everybody off. And that's the part where it's like, I have no feeling towards
gaslight.
Yep. The biggest thing that I think about is that when this pendulum swings, I want to see Confederate flags be banned like the swastika is in Germany. Like, I just want to see that it's no longer allowed to be worn. It's no longer allowed to be displayed. It's no longer to be. I want to see that go the full extent to, really prosecute. Confederate flag, you're a traitor. Done.
And what I want to see is more people to adopt the same type of election plan that I have. It is when I run for election, it's going to be this. I'm going to get rid of everything Donald Trump and MAGA did.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yep. First executive order. Erase.
Anything with Donald Trump's fucking signature on it is now null and void. That is what my executive order will be.
Day one. First
Day one.
Yeah.
Day fucking one.
Anything and everything.
Yep.
Will there be tariffs?
There's so many ways I want to respond to that.
Like I said, just turn the knife.
And you know what, dude? Since you fucking brought it up, I have to take a second. Okay?
The show is yours.
Well, it's ours, but sometimes I tell you to shut the fuck up and just go along for the ride. But this one,
okay,
I did a little thing on tariffs because people seem to be missing some context.
Is it not clicking yet?
I don't think it's clicking yet.
Okay.
So I did a little quick what are they called?
Schoolhouse Rock of tariffs?
Schoolhouse Rock of tariffs, yes. Tariff revenue is generated when a government imposes a tax on imported goods and services. Yeah. I need Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a bill playing in the background right now. Can somebody do that for me? Can somebody spin that up for me? All right. Maybe when we get some production.
There we go.
Here's how the process works with a step-by-step breakdown. Tariffs are imposed. The government sets a tariff rate, example, 10%, on specific imported products like steel, electronics, or textiles. Number 2, goods are imported. When foreign goods enter the country, customs authorities assesses the value of those goods. 3, the tariff is collected at the border. Importers, usually companies, must pay that tariff before the goods can be released into the domestic market. Example, if a company imports $1 million worth of goods with a 10% tariff, the company would pay $100,000 in tariff duties. Revenue goes to the Treasury. The money collected is transferred to the government's general revenue, usually managed by the Department of Treasury in the United States. Key characteristics of tariff revenue. It is paid by importers, not directly by foreign governments or exporters. It can raise prices on imported goods, often passed on to consumers.
Yeah.
So that $100,000 in tariffs that we mentioned in that example, that cost is getting shifted to us, the consumers. It's not getting paid by China. It's not getting paid by Russia. It's not getting paid by anybody. It's getting paid by us.
Yeah.
So when Carolyn Levitt, or whatever the hell her name is, stands on the podium and says that they've generated, $2.3 billion in tariff revenue, or whatever the number was she used, I remind you that revenue was generated from you, not from a foreign government.
Yeah, it's quite brilliant, actually, on a marketing side that they're trying to really push that. And it was 22.3 billion, and that 22.3 billion is from you taxpayers. Yep. People who buy goods from China directly, and they're like, think of it like buying 5 dresses.
Hell, his own hats.
His own hats. I bet you the price went up. I bet you it did. It's one of those things where you're looking at this and you go, this is why he attacked Bezos, Amazon, because they were going to put in there tariff price. They were going to mark it in there. This is going to be the price. Now Trump wants these companies, these corporations, these mom and pop stores to eat the price. Well, why would you eat the price? Why would you have to say that if the customer is not going to be paying for it? So there's a lot of things that are out there if you just listen to it. And then here we are. So if they don't get it, then clearly people like Mega, like to get grabbed by the pussy. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, really. We got one question.
Yeah.
Do you have any concerns about Trump claiming martial law and stopping midterm elections?
You want me to go first? You want to go first?
Yeah, no, go.
I think every American should pay attention to how South Korea handled the last president. I think every single American should go look up when their president at the time, which is just a couple months ago, put in martial law. Did it. Actually instilled it. It lasted 3 days. 3 days.
Yep.
3 days. And the reason why that is because the entire country turned on the president, and the president then had to step down. He was actually prosecuted within a couple of months, and now he no longer is a conversation.
Yep.
They got it done within months versus 4 years, like here in America, where we're doing whatever the hell we're attempting to do when all the information was right there. January, was it January 6th? That should have been wrapped up with it by March that year.
Oh, for sure.
It should have been done. Yep. Here's all the evidence. Here's everything that happened. Here it is, going to trial. I don't know why we played all this other game. I get that there's other things that we can look at to prosecute other people, but here's the main players.
Oh, that's the other thing I would do as president if I were elected in 2028 is I would revoke all of Trump's pardons for the January 6th people, and we'd put them in jail.
Domestic terrorists.
Yeah, sorry. We're not going to leave domestic terrorists out on the street.
Aliens Act? I'm sure there's a terrorist act.
Well, and by the way, Kristi Noem came out in her congressional hearing and pretty much said that Republicans voted to let January 6th traitors become members of ICE and go start detaining people. Remember, folks, I'm not trying to start a cult, just fact-checking one. You can always go Google what I said. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but the way the question was asked was literally asked like, okay, you have these January 6th felons. Are these really people that we should be deputizing?
Yeah.
And Kristi Noem is like, yeah.
Yeah, pay attention to, and this is the thing I want people to really, really pay attention to is the fact that they're trying to normalize what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's just beginning,
Oh, for sure.
It's not going to be just these actual law-abiding citizens, people who are asylum seekers, or people who are going through the system to literally become a citizen. These are not the criminals that they promised. This is not the things that were on the list that they were going to go after, which means that this is going to be a downward slope, that they're going to start going after other minorities. They're going to go after other people. They're going to go after probably political individuals, pundits, personalities, whatever. They're going to try. They're going to attempt this.
Let's get into some of it. So something that came out in the last day or two is that Trump is now demanding loyalty essays from federal job applicants. Let me say that for y'all one more time.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is demanding loyalty essays from federal job applicants.
That's right.
Former President Trump's administration is implementing new hiring guidelines for federal employees that include questions and requirements perceived by some as demanding loyalty to his policies and executive orders. Here are some key elements on the new guidelines. Essay questions. Applicants for positions at or above the GS5 pay grade must answer 4 short essay questions under 200 words each. Advancing the president's agenda. One question specifically asks how applicants would help advance Trump's executive orders and policy priorities. Continuous vetting. Federal workers will undergo continuous vetting and face checks for post-appointment conduct that may impact their continued trustworthiness. Emphasis on patriotism. The guidance repeatedly references required patriotism. Focus on ideological alignment. Critics say the plan prioritizes ideological alignment with the Trump administration over experience and credentials. The plan includes the elimination of hiring based on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And some quick criticisms and concerns. Critics argue these requirements constitute a loyalty test for the administration, potentially politicizing the civil service and undermining merit-based hiring. Concerns exist that these requirements could lead to the hiring of those who align politically with the president rather than those with the best qualifications and experience.
That's right.
Some argue these measures erode more than a century of law and tradition designed to insulate career employees from politics. Critics warn that these additional hurdles could make it harder to recruit talented individuals for government jobs. Federal employees take an oath to the Constitution, not a president or political party, and critics argue the new requirements are inconsistent with this.
Yeah, mediocre. That's it.
So I've actually, I was a federal contractor for years, and I've applied several times to federal jobs, and I never got one. And I can tell you that the things that the things that are already in place for hiring can be pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Discriminating.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see this is just insane. Like, politics is not supposed to be anywhere near civil service jobs.
No,
like it's just not.
It's the best person who's going to get the job done.
GS5 pay grade. So basically, if you're anything like GS5 is a low pay grade. Like, I think for the jobs that we were doing, I think it started at a G8. Went up to, I think, a 12. So it's like G5, like you're just getting into pretty good pay grades in the civil service. And there's different pay scales and stuff. Like there's the GS and then there's a different one. I can't remember off the top of my head, but my point is that the fact that they're requiring this type of thing from government employees should terrify everybody. And then on top of it, Gabrielle Cuccia, the former chief Pentagon correspondent for the far-right Trump-friendly media outlet One America News, or OWN, as we all know it, says she was terminated shortly after she published a Substack post accusing Pete Hegseth's Defense Department of clamping down on press access. She had said the restrictions were disturbing, questioned the Defense Department's motives in tightening media restrictions, and noted that Hegseth has yet to hold a formal press conference since taking office. Cuccia claimed the shift began after the controversy known as Signalgate, in which Hegseth, the former Fox News anchor, allegedly shared sensitive military details in a group chat that inadvertently included a well-known journalist from The Atlantic. According to Cuccia, the scandal marked the beginning of a broader effort to limit media interaction at the Pentagon. Right. So basically, they're trying to shut everybody up because Pete can't do anything right. Let's be honest, since January, the real leaks from the Pentagon haven't come from the press, she wrote in her Substack. They've come from Hegseth's own team and other senior officials.
It's interesting to see that this is now,
Yikes.
They're starting to, eat each other, right? Oh. The cannibalism is like in full effect for us to see. It really
is, you're
and
right.
On the smaller level of these two, little minnows, to what we're seeing with the collapse of Doge and also with Fat Don, it's one of those things where it's interesting to see this didn't take as long as we thought, right?
Yeah.
We were like, okay, it's gonna be in 6 months, it's gonna be within the year.
A year,
like,
yeah.
No, it did not take that long. To see narcissists really clash, brilliant. And it's really on full display for all of us to really take in. But for this, I'm trying to think of who this individual is. This correspondent, news correspondent. Was she in the White House briefings? Because her name does sound familiar to me.
She was on OWN, so that means I wouldn't know who the fuck she is.
Wow. Know thy enemy, brother. Know thy enemy.
I can't. Like, listening to Trump.
I hate watching.
I can't, dude. It's like watching Trump is hard enough. I don't need to watch anybody else be stupid. Like, I feel he's the president, so I kind of got to know what he's doing. But I don't need to know what Carolyn Levette's doing. Like, she's a dumbass. She's 26-year-old. She barely found her coochie yet, let alone fucking know how to be the fucking press secretary.
Well, Grandpa found it for her, so there's that.
Exactly. She needed a fucking 60-year-old man to find it for
her. Sweetie, we don't play Peekaboo at a senior citizens home. Excuse me. Prom is that way. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Put that thing away.
Jesus.
My God. Oh, man.
Oh, well. All I think about, I have to say this. When I think of Mega, I just think ugly people fucking. I'm sorry.
Bunny's like, ew.
Ew. And I'm really thinking about this because of all that news about Elon smashing Miller's.
Steve Miller's wife. They're like,
and I'm like, is it just ugly people fucking in the White House? Is that what's happening right now?
I mean, if you look at Stephen Miller, like, even Elon Musk is a step up from that.
I mean, Stephen Miller looks like a clone gone wrong of Rudy Giuliani. Like, it's just like, what is going on right now? And I'm really thinking about this, where I'm just like, and now his wife is going with him, and now there's talk about a sex scandal. I'm like, oh God.
There's a sex scandal now?
There's all types of people talking shit.
Oh, see, I'm laughing. I didn't know.
I'm laughing at all of it, and I'm like, she's like, I'm going with him. I'm going with the Doge.
So, I'm going with the douche.
Allegedly, by the way, here I'm not breaking.
Everybody's reporting that, so
I mean, who knows?
But I mean, let's be honest. It's not like Elon Musk knows where the fuck he's at anyway.
He doesn't need to, man. He looks like turn off the lights and play Who's in My Mouth. That's what he looks
like.
Right now.
Like so many videos of this guy looking rough, like spaced out. You know what I'm saying? Not just his eyes a little glassy or, like, oh, dude, like not acting. No, he is literally on fucking Mars right now. Why he's talking to that dude?
His shirt's saying it. Occupy Mars, man. Like, he's throwing his consciousness
I think he's been on Mars for a while now, actually.
Yeah, it makes sense. Because that math was really fuzzy. That Doge math was very inflated.
Bro.
We found 2 trillion, 1 trillion, 900 billion, 8 million,
100.
It sounded like crackhead deals. Yo, man, can I get $1, a quarter, a nickel?
500, 200, 100, 60, $20 in an envelope.
Damn.
50 cents in a roll. Damn.
I didn't even say no yet. Like, I was about to give you $1, but you
right?
just ran right down.
You just talked yourself out of everything.
All right. Well, have a good day, sir. Here's a sandwich. It's like, okay.
Taco just signed a 12-country travel ban. Can you look that up? Can you look that up real quick?
Yeah. Ian? Yeah. I'm loving
while Ian's looking that up real quick, let's talk about the big fucking elephant in the room, shall we? And that is the one big, beautiful bill. And I just want to start out by saying that one of the reasons that I think Elon Musk ended up with a fucking black eye and leaving the Trump administration is because even he came out and said that this is a horrible fucking idea. I believe he called it a disgusting abomination, if I may be quoted. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that this bill would result in nearly 11 million people losing health insurance coverage. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, by the way, came out and said that she voted for this without reading it.
It's so wild.
Let me tell you that all. And by the way, she's not the only one. There's a couple that have come out and admitted that they didn't read it. But hey, at least they're admitting to us that they are voting on shit and they don't even know what it is. So they're voting on getting rid of Medicaid and defunding it, and they can't even be bothered to read it. So let me just point out some stuff for you. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act is a comprehensive tax and spending proposal introduced by Donald Trump and narrowly passed the House on May 22nd of 2025. Spanning over 1,000 pages, the bill aims to extend and expand upon the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act while implementing significant changes to federal spending and social programs. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, that was where Donald Trump royally fucked the middle class and helped all the corporations and billionaires. So here are some key provisions in tax reforms. This permanently, let me exclamate this. This permanently extends the visual and estate tax cuts from the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that Trump did. So those are permanent now. So all those billionaire tax cuts that were temporary and supposed to expire at the end of the end of this year, yeah, those are now permanent with no expiration date. Eliminates federal income taxes on tips and overtime pay through 2028.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's an end date?
Yes, sir. There is an end date.
Say that date again. When is that? What year?
That would be 2028.
You mean the election year?
Yes, sir.
When there'd be a new president possibly taking over?
Possibly.
Would they blame that president for that change?
Definitely.
Interesting.
And for the deficit that is going to create.
Interesting. Okay.
Or another way to look at it is it gives them something to run on. Oh, hey, I'm gonna extend those. I'm gonna extend that no tax on tips that I gave you. All you gotta do is, he can't run again. What am I talking about? Well, I guess he would. Well, yeah.
Let's see what fuckery.
We'll see what happens.
Let's see what fuckery is unraveled.
But no, I mean that could still be something that whoever's the Republican nominee could run on.
That's right.
But increases the state and local tax SALT deduction cap from $10,000 to $40,000, phasing out for incomes over $500,000. Introduces a tax deduction for up to $10,000 in interest on auto loans for U.S. assembled vehicles.
That's right.
Now, my question to that is, what's considered a U.S. assembled vehicle? Because
whoever buys his crypto.
I'm just
you heard
saying.
It here first, ladies and gentlemen.
When you look at our gross domestic product, GDP, in cars, and how much of each car contributes directly to our GDP versus how many of the parts are imported, how much of the materials are imported, that's where I'm kind of interested to see where this is going. Like, what's going to qualify?
Yeah.
And then my next question is, who's going to pay $10,000 in interest on auto loans? Not that I'm complaining, because I'll benefit from that.
It's interesting to see how Elon has now completely did about face.
Oh,
I'll pull his ass the opposite direction, because it's like, and also I text you the Axios report on the travel ban, which would be going into effect on Monday of next week.
And just because we're talking about it, I'm going to read it verbatim. Elon Musk put this tweet out regarding Trump's bill. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. Now, my first reaction, I don't know what yours was, but my first reaction to reading that was, bitch, you helped us get here.
Well, I mean, you know, when you are fucked up on drugs, are you really thinking clearly?
Well, this dude, like I said, he don't know a fucking planet.
I don't know if Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde was the one that was helping him out. So I don't, at this point, this is some crackhead deals. Like, so this is Rick James. Ryan, let's just be serious. My man said, I said, fuck your couch. Like, that's what I'm seeing right now in real time.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sorry, Charlie Murphy. That's literally what this is. That's what this is. This also temporarily increases the child tax credit by $500, raising it to $2,500 through 2028. Spending in social programs allocates an additional $150 billion for, you guessed it, defense spending, including $25 billion for the proposed Golden Dome defense system to protect us from Canada. Provides $50 billion for the border wall construction and $4 billion for border patrol enhancements. So more money for all of his donors, and nothing will get done. And it'll be a border wall that a 12-year-old can scale in 2.5 minutes with a sawzall and some rope. Imposes stricter work requirements for Medicaid and the supplemental nutrition program called SNAP, potentially affecting millions of beneficiaries. How much of a douchebag do you have to fucking be to lower or to make the work requirements even stricter? Like, to get on these programs already, you pretty much have to be damn near fucking poor. Well, it's not even that. The worst part, too, we talked about this in the last episode, a couple episodes ago, is that how many people are actually working
and still need that.
This.
And
people
still need it.
People at McDonald's, people at Walmart, people at and literally 40-hour work weeks.
Yep.
And still are not making
enough. Can't make ends meet.
And that's what they have to be on because of they can't have a livable wage. So the system is broken. First and foremost, the system is broken.
You said that. Yep.
So when we're talking about that, now they're putting all these other restrictions on them. And then what representative says that, everybody dies. Like, what?
Oh, yeah. Ooh, I forgot to put that on the outline. And then she did a troll where she's like, oh, I'm apologizing as she's walking through a cemetery. Like, people like that just need to.
I mean, but that's Mega's sense of humor, right? This whole
thing. It's not funny.
No, and they're not funny. That's the worst part about it is that they think they have a niche audience that likes it.
I would have to fact check this one, but somebody in the comments says 65% of people on Medicaid are actually working. That would not fucking surprise me one bit.
Doesn't sound wrong. I could absolutely believe that. But that sounds like some. It's interesting to see how Elon now is pushing against this, and I'm wondering what happened from him getting that key and his exit to with the black eye to
he got his ass beat.
You know what I'm saying? Was it Levitt who punched him in the face, told him to get in line? Or Johnson?
No, it was a secretary, one of the secretaries or something, and him gotten up. I guess he shoved the dude, and yeah, apparently Musk shoved him.
But someone hit him back?
Sure looks like it. I mean, here's my thing. If a story comes out that you and me got into a shoving match yesterday, and the next day I show up with the fucking black eye, the assumption is going to be that Ian whooped my ass.
I did it.
Right?
I do it again. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm taking bets. Stephen Miller's wife beat his ass.
He probably likes it.
He liked it. He liked it. Ugly people fucking. All right. So here's my question to you, because I sent you the travel ban, and clearly the chickens have come to roost. They are fighting. It's full on. And Elon has talked about how he's going to primary anybody when he was with Trump. So now what's going to happen on the other side?
I mean, honestly, I really don't give a fuck. No. And I'm just being honest. Like, I think it was Steve, not Steve Allen. Comedian, white hair. Steve plays banjo. Steve Martin. Steve Martin came out today, and
white hair since the 90s. That's what you should have said.
Yeah. He came out and told Elon, run. You should absolutely fucking run.
I'm sorry.
Do it now before they catch you, because what's coming is bad. Basically, like, you're a piece of shit.
Oh, run out of the country, like leave.
He literally told me, get out, like, leave the country.
Got it.
If
we see ICE pick up Elon,
bro. I mean, the fucker's illegal anyway.
Oh, you know what? That's not on my bingo card, but you know what? I will sit there with a bag of popcorn.
Oh, here it is. I got it. So, I love
way
Steve
too
Allen,
excited
by the
about
way.
this. You look way too
because
excited.
when I saw it, I was like, I love Steve Allen. So, or Steve Allen.
Martin.
I love Steve Martin. So it was like warming my heart a little bit. He said, Psst, Elon, you don't know me, but I'm giving you solid advice. Maybe for the last time, leave America. Go to a country with no extradition agreements with the United States. Do it now. Time is wasting. The DOJ will focus on you and Doge. Your window is closing rapidly. Another country or Mars, you cannot fathom what is heading your way. And lose the gold key. It's a tracking device.
Wow. Wow. Martin's a beast.
Oh, my God.
Wow. That might have just become my positive.
Bunny said, I thought you said run for office.
Yeah.
No,
that's what I was like, whoa.
That would be
Tim
Allen. That would be if it was Tim Allen.
Yeah.
But no, and somebody brought up that Trump signed an executive order getting rid of women's right to abortion. And it's even more broader than that and sicker than that. Whatever executive order he signed is also it was a Biden, I think it was a Biden executive order that dictated or mandated that they had to stabilize a woman, even if that included an emergency abortion. Yeah. And he is rescinding the Biden-era guidance that uses a federal law to require hospitals to stabilize patients in need of emergency care, including by providing an abortion.
But don't worry about it.
How's that pro-life?
They're using traffic cameras to track women, track license plates across state lines.
Yeah, they have to track them and capture them because that's the only way they can get a woman to fuck them.
Sounds like slave catchers to me, i.e. police. Humble beginnings all over again.
Let me finish this. So just getting back to this horrible fucking budget, imposes the stricter requirements, reduces federal funding for SNAP by $267 billion, impacting a significant portion of senior recipients. Environmental and energy policies, repeals and scales back several clean energy tax credits established under the Inflation Reduction Act, of course, including electric vehicle incentives, imposes new annual registration fees of $250 for electric vehicles and $100 for hybrids. Now you have to pay to have a fucking electric. So he's trying to force everybody to go back to gas vehicles. Fiscal impact and criticism. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that the bill will add approximately $3.8 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. Critics argue that the bill disproportionately benefits the wealthy while cutting essential services for vulnerable populations. Elon Musk, former White House advisor, labeled the bill a disgusting abomination, as we said, due to its extensive pork barreling. The political outlook is the bill faces a challenging path in the Senate, where internal divisions among Republicans and unified Democratic opposition could impede its passage. Senate Majority Leader John Thune is working to address concerns and secure the necessary votes with the goal of passing the bill by July 4th.
Oh, how American. On America's birthday. Rape and pillage.
Yep, rape and pillage the American people on 4th of July.
All right. Well, there's a part of me that's the FAFO, honestly.
Unfortunately, we're all about to fuck around and find out this.
I mean, but at the end, it's the Titanic. It's a sinking ship. So it's like, you could say, yeah, these rich people deserve it to go down with the ship. But it's like, we're all going down with the ship.
We're all going.
So I'm going to play my violin. It's like, that's where it is. This is the part where I think we start to have the conversation of France, 1700s. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a certain
they're calling for it.
I mean,
so
isn't that how it happened in France? They called for it. They pushed until bread was no longer available.
If y'all would have listened to my ass, about these January 6th people, if we would have set the precedent and the example, we wouldn't have this fucking problem right now. Yeah. We really wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like a lot of this does stem, it goes back to January 6th, the day that, granted, the day he made fun of a disabled reporter should have been the end of Trump, but January 6th really should have been the end of the MAGA movement. It should have been the end of Trump. You know, that last impeachment should have made it so he could never run for office again. That should have been the least that the Senate could do, right? Is just at least make it so this piece of shit criminal couldn't run for office again. But they couldn't even do that.
No.
They couldn't even make that happen. So, you know, once again, everybody talking about impeachment, shut up. Just stop. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. We don't have massive control of the houses. We don't have the tie-breaking vote. No. It's not going to happen. And even if we do happen to get it through the House, the Senate, as it sits, is not going to fucking charge them.
Well, don't even say that. We don't have a party that has the stones to do what's right.
So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So some news today was the former press secretary for Joe Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre, came out and said that she is leaving the Democratic Party, becoming an independent, while simultaneously releasing her next book.
Right.
Which is titled Independent, A Look Inside a Broken White House Outside the Party Lines. So that's the title of her book. Now, I went on Twitter and gave my initial reaction because when you say a look inside a broken White House, that to me says you're about to go hard on Joe Biden. And knowing what we know about his presidency and what was accomplished, it's kind of like, I don't want to fucking hear it. And if you're simultaneously doing it while we're in the middle of a constitutional fucking crisis, basically for a grift. And I'm just giving my initial reactions here.
Yeah.
And I have some more to add to it after it. But it's kind of like, really? Like you and I, we've left the party. We left like I left 2 years ago. You left, at least I think 6 months ago. Yeah. You know, so we left before it was cool. And we had our separate reasons for why we did. So I'm not really bashing her for becoming independent. Like, I wish more people would. And that said, I had some people reach out to me that said that was going to be kind of the spin of the book, was that we need, you know, maybe we need to step away from the two-party system. Here's why, blah, blah, blah. And if that's the case, like, I can get behind that. So I will say I'm going to reserve any more judgment until I actually read the book.
But what I say to you a couple episodes ago, when the signal leak happened, and not even leak, it was a gift to Jeffrey Goldberg.
Yeah.
I was so thankful that he didn't sit on that to come out with a book.
A book, yeah.
And this is the perfect example of like, oh, here's somebody who may have known something and they sat on it until they had a book. And now it's performative. I'm going to go ahead and step away from the party. So therefore that becomes newsworthy. And then they talk about my book. I mean, it's all PR.
Yep.
Plain simple. Nothing against her. Get your money, do your thing.
Yeah, I'm not mad about the money. I'm not, I'm going to be out here pushing a book. So
get your money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing with it is that it goes to show you that the people who you think are there to set up these checks and balances and to usher this country forward, it really is just a grift on either side. And they just have different ways of doing it, right? There was more of a corporate structure of, well, we're going to get our money, get in line, you'll get yours, blah, 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 with the Democratic Party. And then you have the chaos right here with whatever this bank heist is that we're seeing with this mega movement. And how many Republicans? I mean, 58 people are being enriched right now, Ryan, off of Trump's crypto coin. 58, that's it, are making millions of dollars. Everybody else, all of his constituents, all these cultists, all these people who want to be a part of this movement are going broke trying to buy the dip, while these 58 people are cashing out every single time, making millions of dollars.
Yep.
The inside trading that really is at hand. All I can say is every single Democrat who is in some type of position of power, better start writing down names. Who is making money off this? Because this is who I want to see prosecuted. These people are literally bleeding this country dry. And it's like, it feels like a liquidation sale is what's going on.
And where we're talking about people that we need to support and people trying to do the God's work, Rep. Jasmine Crockett has come out and said that she is officially running to be the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee.
Finally.
So, I put out a post, of course, sharing my complete support for her. And we've talked about this quite a bit. This isn't the first time she's run for a position of leadership within Congress.
Yeah.
And I believe the person that she's running to replace now, who they put in first, I believe he passed away from cancer recently.
Yep.
So
he was an old Democrat.
Why, of course, not trying to say this in any way to be disrespectful to him, but let's hope that let's hope they don't fuck it up this time, and let's put some people in position that actually want to do the work.
If you're older than the age of 70, it's time to fucking retire. Yeah. I'm just going to say it. I don't care. If you are 70, you waited too long.
I just don't think it's ageism to
I'm
say
going
that.
to say no, it's not ageism. If you were too young to join, you're too old to be in it. I'm just sorry. You can't double dutch. There is a great range to be in this. You can't be a president younger than 35. Then why can you be president on your deathbed? Why is it that the man who's right now in office is older than Clinton? Get out of here. No. I want cognitive thinking people. I want people who literally have it together and don't wear Depends. That's what I want. Plain and simple. Yeah. Instead of whatever this is, because we see the actual declining. You guys can say it's a weave. You guys can say that this is like, oh no, he's just a master of his craft. No, the dude is gone.
He just walked off a plane today and the limo was right in front of him. And he turns and walks away from it, and they had to walk. Literally, there's video. The dude has to walk up to him, turn around, and go, limo's right there.
His handler had to. Ryan, use the right terms. His handler had to show him where he had to go.
Yeah.
This is the shit they would be saying about Biden. Oh, he has his handlers out. Oh, yeah. Training wheels are out for old man.
And Republican political strategists have raised serious concerns about President Trump's mental health, citing frequent constant lapses and verbal aphasias as troubling signs of cognitive decline. These remarks have sparked widespread speculation and debate about the president's fitness for office. A few moments later, he gets off the plane and doesn't see the big-ass limo just for him right there.
Yeah. What about his speech at that military school? Had nothing to do with anything about anything. Nothing.
But, was he reading that off a teleprompter?
He doesn't read.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't read.
Oh, by the way, Kristi Noem is now coming up with a way to brief Donald Trump because he doesn't read. So they're now coming up with a Fox News-like briefing for him that he can watch every day.
They literally have to hire anchors to do this delivery. Think about this.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Think about that.
How does this dude become president? Outside of the fact that the dude doesn't like to read, can't spell for shit.
I can tell you the perfect storm happened. That's how. And let me ask you. And oh yes.
Fucking twice.
Well, you know what? I give him the first one. I give him that nobody liked Hillary Clinton. Nobody listened. That was that fall in line mentality. People wanted Bernie Sanders. People wanted Bernie. People wanted something crazy, different. He could have been the outsider, different. That's actually when I joined the Democratic Party, was Bernie Sanders, because it gave me access to the primary. I've always been independent, but that's when I jumped in, and then I lingered to see what was within the pool to help bring up to the forefront. Clearly that game is over. And what's interesting about that, within the first round, he was an outsider. That was the election of the outsider, 2016. Yeah. I give you that. But then we saw what happened. And then COVID happened. He was the worst person to possibly be in there. The worst. And that's the part where I go, yes, he lost to Joe Biden. Joe was night and day different 4 years ago versus now, currently. But for Trump to literally go through all of that resume to then get to this point and people pick, this was something else. This was people picking with hatred in their heart.
Yeah.
That's what this was. And nobody can prove that wrong to me. I don't care. There's not enough Charlie Kirks to go around to try to explain what this was about. And the thing that you're seeing right now is I can't stress it enough, Ryan. This pendulum, as much as it's winding back, it's making me think of like pro baseball. Someone's about to throw a fast curve, but this is what we're doing because this is what we're about to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's about to go forward, and it's going to just launch us to a whole new millennia because you have to go through this crazy shit for you to really start thinking about the importance of what this country is. Yeah. I'm just thankful it's a lot of fucking idiots that are in these positions versus actual masterminds. Do you know what I mean? A lot of PD Hegseth.
Thank God Trump went for loyalty over competence when it came to appointing his cabinet.
Thank you, because these fools, they're making
easy.
Mistakes left and right, and you're like, okay, because what's the new guy of FEMA? Doesn't know anything about.
Is that the guy that had to Google what the job was before he accepted it?
Didn't know anything about hurricane season. Oh, that's a joke. That was a joke. Okay. I didn't know you were in comedy. I didn't know.
And by the what is it that there wasn't? Is it South Carolina, North Carolina that they haven't received any type of relief?
Fucked. Buns can jump in on this. Fucked.
Trump, because is she around there?
Trump denied the FEMA claims.
That's fucking insane. Imagine if Joe Biden had denied the FEMA claims.
They blamed him for the quick cash out. Here's $750. Just handle yourself today. Here's $750 today. Handle yourself. We are working on processing your account. They were like, $750. What am I supposed to do with that? It's more than you just had.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, it's.
You know what I'm saying? But here's my question for everybody.
Oh, fuck.
Where's Jill Stein?
In her fucking hole, waiting for 2028.
Is she in Russia? Is she picking out a plot in Ukraine and Crimea? Where's she at? Where's she at?
You know where she might be? She might be helping the U.S. veto UN call for an unconditional Gaza ceasefire. Because that's what the fuck we just did. By the way, when Donald Trump says, "Oh, I don't know what happened to Putin. I can't believe he's not." Dude, literally, Zelensky sat in the Oval Office and looked you dead in your fucking face and told you, yeah, we've tried diplomacy. It doesn't work because he doesn't stand by anything he says.
No.
Trump should know something about that because he does business exactly the same fucking way. So the U.S. has vetoed the UN Security Council's draft resolution calling for an unconditional and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. The other 14 members voted in favor of the document, which also demanded the release of all hostages and the lifting of humanitarian aid restrictions. The U.S. ambassador to the UN, Dorothy Shea, said the resolution would undermine diplomatic efforts to reach a ceasefire, adding that the UN has not labeled Hamas as a terrorist organization. Hamas is described as such by the US, UK, and the EU. We would not support any measure that fails to condemn Hamas and does not call for Hamas to disarm and leave Gaza.
So here's my question for you, Ryan, because part of that is true. What's stopping the UN from claiming that they're a terrorist organization? What's holding them back in those negotiations? If that's going to be their bluff, that's the line they want to die on, right? You won't label them a terrorist. Okay, so then we're going to veto this. Why is the UN not letting that bit go to then call out America and everybody else to say, okay, we did it. Now what? Because this is the part where I'm really questioning all these people. I think all the wrong people are in charge right now.
That's evident.
You know what I mean? Like so much innocence is being hurt by this, and it's
I'll go even more extreme. If we want to label Hamas a terrorist organization, which they are, like I'm not saying they're not. Let me just be clear about that before people lose their shit. But there is an argument to be made for if you don't want to call Israel a terrorist organization, there's definitely an argument to be made for war crimes. So
I can agree with you that there's now a fine line that is being crossed.
You know what I mean?
There's a fine line.
And I say that acknowledging that when you're fighting, when you go out to fight against terrorism, you know, like America did back in 2002 and 3, it's a very vague mission statement, right? And unfortunately, that leaves a lot up for interpretation on the ground.
Right.
And that's what leads to a lot of questionable things.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, all the wrong people are in power. That's evident.
Yeah.
But I think we as the people on the outside critiquing, demanding action, pissed off about what's going on, we do need to stay focused on who's responsible for what. And I feel like the focus isn't on the people actually responsible. Like it's like you're blaming the soldiers for carrying out the orders, but you're not blaming the dude giving the orders.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what it feels like from where I'm sitting. Am I wrong?
No, it's tragic because there's a number of factors and I had this conversation with some family of mine, and it was one of those things where I go, how do you fight terrorists? How do you fight in such a dense populated area?
Yep.
Which, if you look at the dense population, the amount of people who are being killed versus the fact that not everybody's being killed, it's something that's being toted about, because how many people were being killed in urban warfare in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and all those areas with America. The numbers wise, people being statistical, they're saying that the numbers are not as drastic as they could be. But you're looking at somebody who's so advanced, like the pager aspect. I feel like Israel is being held at a different standard because they are on a physical level winning, right? What it looks like. But at the same time, they're losing because of the ideology, the way that the world is turning against them, the way that this all feels like it was all part of the plan originally. Because no matter what they do, it's always been, you could have hurt somebody with the pager thing. You could have done this. This happened. A child died because they had the pager. And it's like, okay, but that was such a precise strike to a specific demographic. So that means that somebody in the family had that pager and the child happened to hold that pager.
Well, and I think we also need to remember that America doesn't really have the moral high ground here
at all. And I'm going to go even further and talk about, people have so much more to say about Israel and this Palestinian war. But I have not heard a lick of Sudan. I've not heard anything from anybody who is sitting there talking about free Palestine. I don't even think they can tell you about another genocide in history. You know what I mean? Like, they only know and they hyper focus on this, and they don't even really fully understand or grasp the region, and they're not even willing to actually deep dive into it.
And that goes back to probably our shows from like last year.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about that. Is you have a lot of people that don't understand the complexity of this fight, and they don't understand that this didn't just materialize within the last 3 years. No. It didn't just happen October. I don't remember the exact date, 7th, whatever it was.
Yep, 2023.
This is decades, even centuries old fight, and a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of Americans don't understand the culture over there.
Right.
And unfortunately, when you're somebody living in a culture like ours and you are given a view into another culture, unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't make sense to you.
No.
Because you're like, oh my God, how could they do that? It's like, yeah, but that's just their culture. Not saying it's right, but that is what they're living with and how they have to deal with their daily lives. And so us coming in trying to play diplomacy doesn't necessarily mesh well.
No.
And again, we don't have the moral high ground here. We really don't. And I just want to end the conversation saying what I've been saying, that I stand with all the innocent people on both sides of that fight. I know there's a ton of people in Israel that don't agree with Netanyahu, that don't agree with how it's going down. So we see you, I see you, keep being vocal, because we're hearing it all the way here in the United States. And yeah, man, I really do honestly pray for everybody on both sides of that every day, because I see the videos from coming out of Gaza, and even without context, you and I have talked a lot about posting something without the context, not knowing what really happened, blah, blah, blah. But if you just take some of those videos at face value and see the destruction, I mean, it looks like a crazy war zone.
Yeah.
Like it looks like something out of a movie.
And this is the stuff that they're allowing to get out, right?
True.
And this is from both sides, because you're looking at this strategic plan from Hamas on how they want to play the smallest violin and really try to encourage the heartbreak, which you and I have talked about numerous times. And then you have Israel, who is completely blacking out all information. And it's wild to me, because they're coming at it from a military standpoint of eradicating the problem. The problem is that this terrorist organization is their government. So I'm just really trying to wrap my head around, especially when we're getting these numbers. And I want our community to think about this. A situation happened where a hospital was blown up. So they said, hospital blew up, 500 dead. How could the number 500 be thrown out within mere minutes on social media? Because there's a lot of catnip and a lot of things thrusted into social media. Yeah. And you and I always talk about, do not share anything right off the bat. It's not worth trying to be breaking news on something so far away that we also do not have a way to grasp this information. And this is why I say this to you. Hospital blows up, 500 people dead, women and children. This is the first thing thrown out. How could Israel do this? And I sat here and I go, 9/11 happened, and we didn't know how many people, for how many days, who was missing, what the case was, and we had to sit here and wait for all this information to come out. How do you figure out that 500 people immediately, women and children, dead? And I go, there's no grace period for anything, which then just 24 hours later, you come to find out a missile hit a parking lot of that said hospital. And you see how information is immediately shared and how it blasts into the internet. And you're like, what is going on? Why doesn't everybody take a step back? This is fucked up all around. No one's denying that.
Yeah.
But why are we also feeding into it? Because, and my wife and I talk about this more now, because we're starting to see bloodshed here in America, where you're like,
do you feel like that makes it worse?
Absolutely. I feel like it's making it worse for both Muslim and Jewish population in America, because you can't peacefully walk down the street saying, free the hostages. What harm is in free hostages? Just in general. Yeah. Just literally the message is,
let the hostages go.
Let the hostage. How is that a threat to someone's, existence
or even ideology?
Do you know what I mean? For someone to throw a Molotov cocktail,
Molotov cocktail.
Molotov cocktails. Just throw those at senior citizens. Yeah. And then you sit there and you read the story and you go, well, ICE just picked up his entire family. How am I supposed to feel about this now? Is this who I'm supposed to be?
Talking about the guy that set the people on fire the other day? Yeah.
The Egyptian,
I saw they picked up his whole family.
Man who overstayed his visa.
Yep.
Was trying to seek asylum. Spent a lot of time in Qatar.
Which Elon did, by the way.
Yep. Spent time in Qatar before coming here. And then planned this for a year. And then did it to a small little activist group that was just saying, free the hostages. Yeah. So then when you're taking that information in, you go, how am I to really process that? Because the kids didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But you're with this, well, how is that ingrained in your household? So what are we looking at here?
Can you hear the children playing?
No.
Okay.
At first I was like, is this a ghost story? Like, what's about to happen?
No, I can hear them. So I'm just like, I don't know if I need to tell them to be quiet.
Can you hear the children playing? I'm like,
because I hate telling them.
What is this, like The Shining? Come play with us. Like, they're just sitting there with two matching dresses.
Hello, Clarice.
Hello, Clarice. But this whole thing, man. And there's a part I want to get into it at some point, and I think Sadia would be a great guest to have back on and talk about it with her studies, her profession in this.
Yeah.
And there's a thing where I really want to understand what the PLO created, and I talked to my sister Ida about this, and I was like, the PLO created a system, and this is where it sparks with the Intifada and all this stuff that we know nothing about these chants, we know nothing about the horrors of this time frame. But they're great slogans on college campuses. But what pay to slay means in the West Bank, and when you look at this organization and how they really do kind of piece all this together. So,
yeah.
But anyways, we got to talk more about it. For now,
yeah.
Keep it moving.
So, yeah, I don't know really how to. I didn't have any of that on my outline, so I don't know how to transition. We'll just go with this White House event for political appointees. President Trump. Yeah, I know. Sorry, I had nothing. Yeah. President Trump is set to host over 3,000 political appointees from his administration for a landmark gathering on the White House lawn, marking one of the largest events ever held there. The event aims to recognize their service to Trump and includes food, entertainment, and remarks from the president and his cabinet members. This is on top of the parade.
That's my point about all this, man. This wannabe dictator.
That's all it is, bro. That's all it is.
It is grandstanding for somebody who probably has dementia.
Yeah.
That's it. Send this man a box of a candy with some balloons. Call it a day.
I'm telling you.
Wheel his ass into one of his little gold toilet situations and call it a day.
Just put him on the Saudi plane and just,
you know what I mean?
Send him away.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about a few things that Trump has done to make me want to choke a motherfucker. Trump asked Congress to defund PBS and NPR. President Trump has formally requested Congress to rescind approximately $1.1 billion in funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which supports PBS and NPR. The administration argues that public media is politically biased and an unnecessary taxpayer expense. Let me say that again. The administration argued that public media is politically biased and an unnecessary taxpayer expense. Public media leaders warned that such cuts would devastate local stations and essential services. Legal challenges have been initiated with NPR and PBS suing the government over First Amendment violations. And as somebody made the comment just a few moments ago, just in case you thought they were kidding, I actually had that video lined up for the show. So I turned the volume down.
In South Florida newscasts.
So this is the newscaster that
was heading here. And as you've grown accustomed to my presentations over my 34 years in South Florida newscasts, confidently, I went on TV and I told you it's going to turn. You don't need to worry. It is going to turn. And I am here to tell you that I am not sure I can do that this year because of the cuts, the gutting, the sledgehammer attack on science in general, and I could talk about that for a long, long time, and how that is affecting the U.S. Leadership in science over many years, and how we're losing that leadership, and this is a multi-generational impact on science in this country, all right? But specifically, let's talk about the federal government cuts to the National Weather Service and to NOAA. Did you know that Central and South Florida National Weather Service offices are currently basically 20 to 40% understaffed? From Tampa to Key West, including the Miami office, 20 to 40% understaffed. Now, this type of staffing shortage is having impacts across the nation because there's been a nearly 20% reduction in weather balloon launches that carry those radiosondes. And what we're starting to see is that the quality of the forecasts is becoming degraded. There's also a chance, because of some of these cuts, that NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft will not be able to fly this year, and with less reconnaissance missions, we may be flying blind. And we may not exactly know how strong a hurricane is before it reaches the coastline, like happened a couple of years ago in Hurricane Otis in Acapulco, Mexico. So I was asked to talk about this today. I'm glad I was. I just want you to know that what you need to do is call your representatives and make sure that.
There you go.
It's going to be interesting when a place like Florida gets annihilated. A place heavily Republican. You know, I'm not thinking that they're going to switch sides or blame anybody, but they'll probably blame Joe Biden.
Oh, of course.
But when you sit here and you watch it underwater, especially knowing how many insurance companies are pulling away from Florida, not just the coastline, miles inland, they're just pulling out. They're pulling out.
Holy shit. I didn't realize that about his family.
What's this?
Sorry, just going back to the Molotov guy real quick. His wife and 5 children had their visitor visas revoked after his arrest, suggesting they were legally in the country. So they scooped him up and revoked their legal status.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean,
if you yourself did a terrorist act in America and you're in this country during this administration, no one has to act brand new right now. This man has seen what's been happening.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong, man.
You want to take the chance, and just think, well, my daughter's gonna be fine. My wife's gonna be.
Josh
fine.
brought up a good point though, but going back to due process, wouldn't they still be due? Yeah.
I mean,
see, and this is where the conversations get.
And this is where we have to have the dialogue. Now, don't get me wrong. There should be due process. Yes, they should be going through that.
Yeah.
No one's negating that. But you also can't say that you burning senior citizens because they're asking for hostages is not, you're not going to lose your meal ticket. Like, I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because essentially there you're holding them accountable for their father's act or their father/husband's
which
actions.
I'm totally for parents being held for school shooters. You didn't shoot it, but it was your gun, and this is the situation. I just feel like
in those circumstances,
right.
where
But it's just like we're gonna scoop it all up all together. We're gonna root all of this, and we're gonna look at all of it. We're gonna examine it and see what happened. But that also is where due process comes in.
Yeah,
I'm not saying scoop up and.
I'm not sure if that's a good. Yeah.
But this is where we're getting really interesting.
Yeah, no.
And some of this, and at the same time,
because I know you and I are very like we try to be fair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we have our leanings, but we try to be fair in everything we do and that we assess. And I know that if you and I are feeling this way about it, that a lot of people are feeling that way about it.
Yeah. I mean, I just think we need to have more common sense and I don't want to pick a side. I don't think Palestine is right. I don't think Israel's right. I think that there is a lot of shit that we need to get to the bottom of. And it's been happening for thousands of years. And I don't know if it's going to happen in my lifetime. But there's something.
I can tell you one thing: Trump ain't going to fix it in 24 hours.
Boy, everything that he said he was going to fix it, all of it's gone to shit. Every single one.
5 months later, and we're still here.
Bro, worse.
Yeah. And we're vetoing UN resolutions.
We've been doing that even with Biden.
Yeah.
And that's also another part.
Did Biden veto the resolution?
Yes. That's what's so wild about it.
I wonder why they vetoed it.
They also said that UN is not claiming that Hamas is a terrorist organization. This has been ongoing. This is what I'm saying to you.
How is that holding up them just doing this fucking ceasefire?
Take it off the table. All right, fine. They're a terrorist organization. Now what? You know what I mean?
Or not. Why does it fucking? I don't know. Maybe
because part of the issue is that the issue I've seen and
the ceasefire to me seems to be the issue. Like
the ceasefire. Well, because the thing is that there's two things that I really trying to wrap my head around. How are you going to try to prosecute children who are protesting for Palestine, free Palestine, talking about how they are a danger here in America, but you're going to go to Qatar, who's funding Hamas, and accept all these lavish gifts, all these things, and a plane, and we're going to sit here and not have that conversation? Because this is the part where I'm like, make it make sense. And I'm bashing my head against the wall with this one. You look at the money that's been funding this entire war. That is no one cares about the people. Josh made a comment in here about how Marco Rubio was talking about how a hospital was turned into a base. Josh, it is. This is the part that is really tricky. Not much land is Gaza.
There's tunnels underneath
tunnels under everything. So are they claiming it is that there's an entrance point? there probably is an entrance point. Well, guess what? The Geneva Records say if you're using it and you're moving weapons through something, it's now a military base. So this is the part that's kind of messed up. So yes, it is a hospital, but yes, there is access to weapons or storage or this or that or how they were moving.
I would just like to see, just me personally, I would like to see the proof that there are tunnels underneath and that's what's happening. Like, I don't take anybody's fucking.
They released some of the footage.
Did they? See,
I'm saying,
like, it.
Throughout this entire war, they have released footage showing where tunnels are going. And
I know that, but I'm talking about specific, like, if that hospital strike specifically.
Right.
I would really like to see what they used, to come up to that conclusion. Is all I'm saying. Anybody can say, hey, they're fucking under the hospital. That's why we hit it.
Terrorists blown it up. But here's the thing that you and I always talk about: how many lives. And this will sound callous, but how many lives are worth that one terrorist, right? And to me, it's like, no, life is so precious. But at the same time, how many lives is this person surrounding themselves with because they know that they have a human shield?
Well, that's like you said, that's the whole game.
Yeah.
They do the human shield stuff because they know that leaders, like presidents and things like that, they have to make these decisions.
Right.
They have to live with them.
Right.
That's nothing new. And so they play on that 100%. Like, I'm definitely not arguing that.
No.
And that's what comes down to where a lot of Americans don't understand war. They don't understand, like we said, their conflict between them.
Right.
And how we influence that.
Right.
Like,
and we haven't seen war since revolution on this continent.
Nope.
Like, we are so far removed, and we can't even talk about Pearl Harbor. You know what I mean? Like, that's not.
Yeah.
Still haven't felt it. It's a territory.
We ended up nuking a couple cities over it.
Which we will.
But that's why people are so scared of us, because they know that at the end of the day, if we get pushed,
you wake the bear,
and our back is against the wall, we're gonna nuke some shit.
What's interesting about our back? Our back was never against the wall. We were just tired of fighting that fight.
Well,
because it was a different type of fight, like to fight kamikaze. I mean, look, we're going to go all over the place, but in that situation,
we understood. You wanted to be 100, and you wanted to be an hour and a half. You're fucking my thing up. But in all seriousness, just circling back, Trump has raised the ICE deportation quotas.
Yeah.
So this is something we all need to stay focused on.
This is probably why that family got scooped up.
Yep. That's exactly why. Mm-hmm. And me personally, I think Trump just wants to be able to say he deported more people than Obama. I really think that's what this is about.
It's this. It's this.
Yep. So the Trump administration is calling for 3,000 daily immigration arrests. The quotas that they are pushing for, creating this situation on the ground where ICE is literally just trying to go after anybody that they can catch, said Vanessa Cardenas, the executive director of America's Voice, an immigration advocacy group. Now, this reminds me of those stories of the judges that were getting paid to send, kids and people to jails and give them longer sentences. That's what this fucking reminds me of.
Yeah. Yeah. The American dream. Because it's privatized prisons that are getting filled.
Yep.
People are making tons of money off of this new system. And it's not new. It's not new.
And the people that Donald Trump told to stand back and stand by are the ones wearing the fucking masks.
Has it been proven yet?
That I don't know for sure.
I think
there's been one or two that they've tied to.
It's tied because I know that they're starting to see like the tattoos. Like some people are, brave. They're just showing their sleeves or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're seeing the tatted sleeves.
So you can still some of you can be identified by that shit.
Yes, and it's interesting to see that some of that's coming out. And the white nationalist tattoos that are on their forearms or whatever. A lot of like P.D. Hegseth's tattoos. White gangs. You know what I'm saying. If we're gonna call tattoos and that they're gang members, so
hey. Taco.
It's
called the Taco.
Taco Boy. Let me tell you, that's
Taco Boys. I like that.
Taco Boys is here, man. They really are.
Taco boys.
This is their month.
They're gonna have blazers soon. Yeah.
No, man.
They'll be gold.
Oh God, gold lace, just gold lace.
Gold lace. Oh, fuck me.
I know.
I
know.
So, in all seriousness, though, I have so many videos on my phone right now of ICE going and taking people.
Yeah.
You know, and here's my thing that I feel like we have to keep saying on this show. I haven't run into any liberals or Democrats that have a particular problem with getting rid of rapists and criminals if we have a way to get rid of them.
Right.
You know, they're criminals.
Yeah.
My thing is you are not automatically a criminal just because you are here.
No.
Without papers.
No.
You still get due process according to our Constitution.
Yeah.
And we are seeing people getting picked up in their homes, at their job sites, like getting
at their
food,
appointments.
At most importantly, they're getting sucked in at their court appointments.
Yes.
And then they're getting arrested on their way out. So these people are trying to do it the right way. You know, all the MAGA and Trump supporters say, well, they should just do it the right way. They're fucking trying. And you're literally arresting them as they're coming out.
Yeah.
Do you know how fucked up that is?
Yep.
And the fact that you people can sleep at night just boggles my mind because I really don't know how. Watching these videos, I don't know how you fucking people are okay with it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't see anybody out here standing on their soapbox saying, please, let's keep all the rapists and the criminals and the felons.
We are. They're in the White House.
Yeah, they're in the... Thank you. But if you send ICE into the jail cells to go find people in there that are undocumented that we can get rid of and get out of our system, I'm all fucking for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm all for it. And I don't know anybody that isn't.
Yeah.
I really don't. Like, I don't know anybody that isn't okay with that. What we are not okay with is people getting picked up randomly off the street for no fucking reason.
And Anthony,
what we are not okay with.
Restaurants also. Restaurant staff. Shutting down restaurants.
Yep.
It's wild,
construction sites, restaurants. Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this one again, too. The first one of these mask-wearing dumb fucks that gets popped because he went and tried to pick some woman off the street, I'm going to side with the shooter.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you that right now.
It's interesting.
I'm not going to side with the ICE or the FBI or whoever the fuck it was that thought it was a good idea to show up in a hat and a mask and street clothes and start picking people up off the streets.
And no identification. No
identification
badge,
or just a badge. Even if they got a badge. Fucking badge don't mean shit.
Well, the conversation too, Ryan, that's happening is that women are getting picked up and assaulted. SA.
Exactly.
Because predators have picked up on the idea that they could do this.
Yep.
And just snatch somebody off the street.
And it's easy for them because women they're just gonna.
Not only women, bystanders are just like, oh, that's an ICE agent doing their job.
Well, hey, and a big shout out to all the videos of all the people in San Francisco and all the other cities that are coming out and the citizens that are not letting this happen. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
They can't fucking fight all of us.
Yeah. Well, until martial law.
Even then.
Even then, no, that's when it gets real. That's when it gets real. And that's the question that
because if you think that we won't find a way to get some tanks and airplanes.
Oh, I already know you're crazy ass by those deports, those little ports.
I'm by Davis Mountain, baby. We got fucking 1,000 fucking airplanes just waiting to get spun up. Shit.
You gonna look like Mad Max. You gonna be the first one.
I know how to spin the fuckers up. I know how to get them ready to go.
Oh my God. It is quite interesting to think about where things are. And I wanted to sit rent free in people's heads. Read up on France. What was their breaking point? 1700s. Yeah. Read up on France.
Hey, we need to do a episode.
The French Revolution.
Yep. And do you see any similarities?
They still have bad hair.
We're just gonna tell the story. You just tell me if you feel any kind of kindred spirit.
Top 10 hits of French Revolution on Hold the Mic.
Oh shit. So the last topic I wanted to talk about before we get into the positives today is a U.S. judge today temporarily stopped the Trump administration from moving ahead with an effort to eliminate the JobCorps, which is the largest U.S. job training program for low-income youth. U.S. District Judge Andrew Carter in Manhattan issued a temporary restraining order in a lawsuit filed by a trade group representing contractors that operate Job Corps centers. Carter ordered the government not to terminate Job Corps contractors or stop work at Job Corps centers until a further ruling in the case, and he ordered the Labor Department to appear at a court hearing on June 17th. The lawsuit alleges that the U.S. Department of Labor is violating federal law and its own regulations by abruptly shuttering the program, a plan the agency announced last week. Job Corps was created by Congress in 1964 and allows 16 to 24-year-olds from disadvantaged backgrounds to obtain high school diplomas or an equivalent, vocational certificates and licenses, and on-the-job training. The program currently serves about 25,000 people at 120 Job Corps centers run by contractors. And if you go on my Instagram, I posted yesterday, the mayor of Tucson, Regina Romero, she did a video explaining how this affected my city of Tucson. And there were 10 kids that were left homeless when they shut it down. So she did a video explaining it all. And I just don't know how people would be okay with this.
Yeah.
Like, and I saw a guy, I believe he was a pastor, but he had showed up to one of these centers where this was happening. And he said, you want to know what really pisses him off? He said, is that these kids are trying to better themselves.
Right.
These aren't kids, that are in a fucking halfway house that got put there because, they got in trouble. No, they're there because they're disadvantaged. They're poor and they need a fucking helping hand.
Isn't that called
and that's what this is.
A certain term? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's exactly what the fuck this is.
This is giving them that opportunity to do just that.
Just that.
Yeah.
It's not giving them anything.
No.
All you're giving them is resources.
Opportunity.
That's literally all opportunity and resources. That's it.
Life,
and to me,
liberty,
as a taxpayer,
justice for all.
The pursuit of happiness. Yeah.
Doesn't sound like that though. Doesn't sound like that at all.
No. But again, this is a program that creates people that are going to contribute to society.
Yeah.
Somebody explain to me how that's bad. Tell me how that's a bad way to spend our tax dollars. Because for me personally, I would much rather my tax money go to that than refurbing a fucking plane that isn't going to be ready before the two we've already ordered from Boeing. Take the fucking $900 million from that. It'll more than cover this program.
I want to send you some numbers real quick. I want you to think about this. As of June 4th, 2025, the Trump administration has faced substantial number of legal challenges since President Donald Trump has begun his second term since January. According to Just Security Litigation Tracker, there has been 226 legal actions filed against this administration. The courts, 226. Since January.
That's a lot in 5 months, 6 months.
With 7 cases closed so far. When I tell you that the fight is really in the courts, the fight is in the courts right now. And the biggest thing takeaway that we've talked about with Trump acquiring a couple of law firms who bowed and kissed the ring.
Yeah.
A lot of people, partners and also clients have left said law firms. And a lot of people are flocking to the law firms who have actually turned and sued this administration because people want to see fighters.
Yep.
They don't want to see these people who roll over and show their belly to Trump. And
it's how we got here.
It's exactly how we got here. And we're still here until we start seeing people pick up and fight.
Yep.
That's the one thing to take away from this episode. We need to see some fighters on the front lines.
Yep. So like I said, when I'm running for president, everybody, first day, executive order says anything that Donald Trump signed is null and void.
No Taco Tuesday. That's going to be his.
No, we're going to bring Taco Tuesday back the right way is what we're going to do.
No tacos for you. That's what's gonna happen.
So speaking of tacos, real quick before we wrap it up. So the New York City mayor race is heating up a little bit.
Yeah, it is here. It is. Look.
So former Governor Andrew Cuomo is leading the Democratic field in New York City mayor race, which says a lot. He's expected to face attacks from 8 lower polling rivals in the first Democratic primary debate. Incumbent Mayor Eric Adams is running as an independent after his corruption scandal.
Who is that? Adams? Oh man, no. This city has gone to shit with Adams and his corruption. It's gone to shit.
Yeah,
I'll tell you right now. A lot of common sense was thrown out the window when he took office. And I'm so thankful. I did not vote for him. I'm so thankful that it's like, this guy got to go. He has to go. For him to run for as independent. Cuomo, I'm tired of dynasty. I'm tired of a brand recognition. I'm tired of, this man, he's a Nepo baby. His father was the real deal, the real Cuomo, right? His brother, the once news anchor that then turned into a glorified podcast host. I mean, what is it? Does he have his own network? What is he doing?
Yeah, he's about 300,000 followers ahead of us.
Just a little bit, just small inches to miles. Okay, who's keeping count? And Cuomo, I give you where he did put up a fight with Trump during the heart of COVID. But at the same time, when you look at power and how it corrupts, you look at how he treated women. And you got to look at the total package of who this man is. Now, is he a loving father? There's a lot there. There's a lot to take in there. But when you look at who this younger man is, Zephrin, what is his name? The opponent.
I don't know. I already erased it.
Okay. So
Sorry.
Him, there's a thing that you have to keep in consideration of the constituents here. Highest population of Jews. That guy is Free Palestine. I don't know if you're speaking to the right demographic of the city.
Yeah, probably not.
You know what I mean? So it's like, are they going to lean with Cuomo and see?
And again, if you do, here's a Democratic Party basically signing off on a predator.
I mean,
I still don't think he's as bad as Trump in terms of
grab
him by the pussy and stuff.
I was about to say is maybe it takes a predator to fight a predator. Maybe that's
tonight on Predator to Catch a Predator.
I mean,
I can see the wall art for it now.
The Jaguar sound effects in the background. Is that what it takes? I don't know. Is that where we're heading? I didn't have it on my bingo card.
Donald Trump sitting at the table with Cuomo and his hands over him like the Jesus poster.
Take the wheel. Cuomo, take the wheel. I don't know.
God.
I don't know, Ryan. I don't know how I feel right now, man. I don't know how I feel.
Man.
I think New York is tail spinning in some chaos. I think that the Free Palestine movement really did a number on this city. And I say that in the context of it really went overboard. I'm not the first to say being anti-Semitic. That one went overboard. And it got ugly and dark fast. And I'm saying that because when you're getting on a train, has nothing to do with anything about anything, and you're telling Jews to get off, there's something weird that's like in the air, and the toxicity. And that's what people had to endure for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about college campus. We're just talking about in the streets of. And
they definitely found a way to radicalize people.
People are radicalized.
Yeah.
People are really, I miss the days when it was just white Republicans trying to kill Trump. Can we bring that back?
Oh, Jesus. Come on, cholesterol.
The number one killer.
Anyway, with that, what do you got for your positive this week?
Man, I really have been reconnecting with some individuals. I want to give a shout out to Corey Stoner, somebody I actually went to elementary with. Kimball, everything, quiet dude, always been quiet. Him and I got a chance to reconnect and jump on the phone because I've been watching him progressed as an artist, and I watched him do his thing. He's a rapper from Detroit, and just a beautiful soul. And always been a quiet kid, but when he's behind the mic, he's doing his thing, right? And it's and so there's nothing but more joy than to gift an artist, a rapper, a track. No ties, no strings attached. Just, I've been watching you and I've been really enjoying your growth. Here's something that I made for you, tailor-made for you. Have fun. To get their reaction that they, you know, where they've been buying beats or finding free beats or whatever the case is, and there's all this stuff, to be gifted something. And, you know, and you and I kind of had that where I'm like, hey, I've been watching you. I made you something. Here you go. You know, have fun. And fast forward and look at us now, right? But in that, I've created 4 songs in the last week. And it's been like that creative flow. Once it's there, it's like you just ride that wave. You know, it really is like surfing. You just ride that wave. You create as much as you can, because at a certain point you're gonna tap that well, and then it's like, okay, take a step back. And there's multiple hats to wear. Like, you know, I don't know what 2 episodes ago, whatever, I released a song. I got a little antsy. I was like, oh, I'm gonna release a song every Wednesday. I was like, calm down, calm down. I ain't trying to do no sweatshops like that. Calm down. But I think a release on a Wednesday per month is more of a realistic thing, because I know myself. I'm too OCD where I need to fine tune a couple things. I listen to it and repeat it in my head. And someone told me, you know, and I maybe it was Alchemist talking about it, where it's like, you know, as a painter, you know when the job is done, and it's like an emotional aspect. It's like a breakup. You know, you know that it's over. Like there's no more creation. There's no more feeling towards it. And it's like, oh, this moment is over, you know, and that's the moment where then I have to turn on a different hat and say, okay, I need to get it out there to you, to the people, to then hear what's I've been living with for months, you know, just in this space. Yeah. And so the biggest joy has been, you know, hook up Corey, release a song, and just be present in the world, and actually watch my son be like, Dad, I want to hear that music. Because he used to be like, I don't want to hear your music. I want to hear Pirates of the Caribbean. And I'm like, damn, how am I going to keep compared to, you know, Jack Sparrow? Not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to happen. But my love language with my son is music. And so we're going through different types. But just recently he was like, Dad, play me your song. I was like, oh. Lasted 5 seconds, and he was like, turn that shit off. I want to hear Superman. I was like, all right, you can't compare to Superman.
Yeah, it was good, Dad, but yeah.
It's past the track. Let's keep it moving. So that's my positive. Music, nice. Just music in general, just having it in my diet. And that's listening to, sharing, creating, all of it. Music has been really
reconnecting with old friends.
Just completely reconnection. Yeah, man. It's been beautiful. It brings people together. So how about you, man? How's your positive?
So my positive, a little different maybe than usual. I wanted to talk about the Dodgers for a second. So Los Angeles Dodgers, every year, they renew a $0 contract for outfielder Andrew Toles. He hasn't played with the team since 2018, but they have continued to do this contract with him since then, so that he can maintain health care. Now, Toles suffers from schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. He's been in at least 15 mental health facilities since 2019, and he was most recently found sleeping behind a FedEx building at a Florida airport. His father now has custody of him and is helping him. And as a lot of you that watch the show know, you know, I connected with this because I'm bipolar as well. Now, of course, I don't have schizophrenia, and, you know, I probably have the better bipolar disorder out of the two. But it just really made me think about, you know, him, and I was so impressed with the Dodgers and the fact that they continue to make sure that he at least has the minimum, which is health care if he needs it.
Right.
And, you know, unfortunately with people, you know, with severe mental health issues like him, it can be difficult to help them. You know, if he's been in mental health facilities at least 15, somebody's getting him into these facilities.
Right.
So he's being helped. And whether he is able to overcome those struggles and those demons, we'll see. But just the fact that, a baseball team would do that and continue, it doesn't really cost them anything.
Right.
It may cost, they may have to pay in for healthcare for him or something, but they're not paying him a contract. It's a $0 contract,
right.
but it allows him to keep benefits. And the fact that Major League Baseball allows them to do that too. So I just really liked that story, and I wanted to talk about it because right now with everything going on, I know I've been dealing with it. It's so easy to get into the news cycle and start feeling that hopelessness and
I think about you when it's like this is overwhelming.
Yeah,
it is news dumps, and I'm like, oh, I hope Ryan's okay.
Yeah, it's like
it's a lot. It's a lot.
But you've also experienced me when I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like,
oh yeah,
my intake is done. Yeah. I can't intake anymore.
Yeah,
and that's what I want people to focus on. Like, it's okay if you're done. It's okay if you've reached the top of your your limit. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So, I would much rather see you take care of yourself and be ready to fight another day,
right,
than not see you out here fighting at all.
Right.
And so that's what I kind of just tell myself every day is, on the tough days, it's like, yeah, today's tough, but I know that I'm going to be okay. And I know that I have a good support system. I know that I have health care. So, all of these things that not everybody is fortunate enough to have. Right. So to see, and there's also another baseball team, apparently, San Diego Padres have been doing the same thing for a man named Matt LaChapa. So there's other teams that are doing similar things for other people. So it's just, with so much negative stuff going on right now, it was a really nice story to read and see, there are people and organizations out there still willing to take care of people, even if they're not getting anything from them anymore.
Right.
They're not making money off these people anymore. They're not selling jerseys anymore. They're not nothing. They're not making anything, but they're still sticking by their side and trying to help them in whatever way they can. And
right.
So I'll always be rooting for the Dodgers as long as they're not playing the Tigers. That's my positive.
Poetry.
You got anything before we go, bro?
No, man. Guys, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Us here on Hold the Mic, we are going through some changes this year. We are definitely trying to challenge the status quo, build community, and even clean our own house. We're independent. We definitely lean more liberal for sure because we're not psychopaths. And there's a thing there where it's like, but we are always open for the dialogue and conversation, especially with you guys. And there's a thing where it's like, we want to go against the status quo. We want to eradicate those echo chambers. And it's one of those things that Ryan and I love to actually put on the table and, love us, hate us, rock with us, laugh with us. That's what we're here for every Wednesday for now. And infinity until beyond. I'm gonna be Buzz Lightyear with his Woody ass. That's what we're doing.
That's funny. All right, man. Well, with that, I just wanted to thank everybody for supporting us, and a big shout out to Justice AI and Christian Ortiz for sponsoring the podcast as always.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let them know. The Election Alliance is coming back.
Oh yes, is that next week?
The 11th. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, the 11th we have Election Alliance, and then we have another guest the week after that I set up while you were out fucking off.
Sadia was a great substitute. Okay.
Oh, she was amazing.
But we got Election Alliance, and they said they got some juicy stuff for us. So stay tuned, guys. Come back here, same time, same show, same assholes.
Same assholes. As always, much love. Keep fighting. And whatever you do, make sure you stay safe out there.